Jaden Ivey is in the news for some not so great things he's been saying in the media over the last couple of weeks, couple of days. Jaden Ivey, for those of you who are not well kept, first off, I'm just going to say welcome to Get Back Sports. My name is Lewis, and I will be covering this topic today about Jaden Ivey, former 5th overall pick by the Detroit Pistons in the 2022 NBA draft, right? Coming out of Purdue, looked to be a really good scorer, really good young combo guard, like point guard, shooting guard, right? And recently was traded to the Chicago Bulls. Now, some people may say in his videos that's been going around recently and a lot of his live streams that brother's crashing out. Not only because he was traded to the Bulls, but because he said some comments about NBA celebrating Pride Month in the NBA, right? And look, first off, I just want to say, people of the LGBTQIA plus community, I love you guys. You guys are welcome on this channel. You guys are safe on this channel. This is not going to be a piece where I am agreeing with Jaden Ivey. I am not agreeing with Jaden Ivey whatsoever. I believe Jaden Ivey is crashing out, and I believe that brother needs some help because he has talked about his mental health struggles in the past. He's talked about how he was SA'd as a child by a close family member, right? So he is fighting, potential trauma from that. So I want to be gracious and forthcoming with my grace to him. I'm extending grace because I believe that this not only is him saying derogatory things about NBA pride and potentially people within that community, but also it's a cry for help because he, speaks about this where he has struggled with mental health before. So I believe that this more so is a cry for help. But I got a lot of videos here today, chat. I got a lot of videos, right, where we're talking about Trevion Henderson in the news too, right? Potentially agreeing. Not potentially. He is. A lot of people are agreeing with what Jaden Ivey said. All of them are a little bit dumb. Actually, pretty dumb. We got a couple of videos. One by Hoops for Hotties. I really love this lady's channel or Instagram page. I think she does a really good job of covering these things. Explain for the girls. So if any girls are watching, I'm here. We also got somebody here from Bailey Jackson Sports, right, covering this topic as well. And we got a litany of topics, right? We got Jaden Ivey. He was talking about Steph Curry. He even called out Steph Curry. Whew, this brother. Let me tell you, Instagram lives and NBA players, let me tell you, they don't know how to stay separated. Let me tell you, athletes and going live, let me tell you, I've never unintentionally went live or I've never went live to, spew hate. Never done that. But a lot of these people on live, they do some very questionable shit, okay? And then we got this guy as well talking about freedom of speech and how Jaden Ivey and potentially freedom of speech. We also are talking about how Jaden Ivey said that Jesus healed his knee. Now, while I do like that, it's nice, Jesus is a healer, right? And, if Jaden Ivey feels he healed his knee, then that's great. However, not the reality. I'm just saying, chat. I don't want no Christians coming after me in the comment sections, all right? Jesus is a healer, yes, but he did not heal Jaden Ivey's knee good enough to where he had to, right? He can come back during the season because he did an MRI and then they shut him down for the season, which means he's not healthy. Okay? Don't come at me, please. Next, we got, thoughts on Jaden Ivey and taking shots at Curry and being waved and things like that. And then we also got how to become American Christianity's newest hero by this brother right here. So we got a jam-packed session here today, folks. A jam-packed session here today. And we're just going to go over some of these videos that are potentially, why did Jaden Ivey get, why did it get out of hand, right? What did he actually say to make the Bulls waive him, right? So let's get on it, right?
Can proclaim LGBTQ, right? They proclaim Pride Month in the NBA. They proclaim it. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month.
Now, yes, the NBA does do that. Now, here's the thing, right? The NBA is not a Christian organization, right? They are a regular, degular, schmegular company, organization, whatever you want to call them, right? They are regular, degular, schmegular, which means they don't have any any religious ties, right? To anybody or any entity, right? So a lot of people, right, and a lot of people could be skeptical about how companies maybe are trying to profit off of Pride Month, right? That could be, that's a real legitimate question, right? We could talk about the genuineness of how these companies want to celebrate Pride Month, right? We could talk about that, right? But when you're saying that the NBA celebrating Pride Month is unrighteous and they're proclaiming it and they're showing it to everybody and, Jaden, Ivey, I know you're, Christian, right? But it sounds like, don't come at me, chat, but it sounds like you're using the Bible to hate. I'm just saying. You're using religion to mask your hatred for something, okay? Now, I don't want to, say something that get me canceled here, but seems like you're not too fond of that kind of group, Jaden. Calls out the NBA for celebrating Pride Month. I mean, let's just continue.
To celebrate unrighteousness.
And there it is. That's what got him potentially clipped and waived. Talking about celebrating unrighteousness, right? So basically, he's calling Pride Month or people in the LGBTQIA plus community unrighteous, which basically means that you are sinful, you are harmful, you are a detriment to the actual society. That is what Jaden Ivey is saying, right? That's what unrighteousness means, right? Now, I know a lot of people, Christian as well. When I told them about this story, they were like, oh, what is wrong with him? Is he okay? Right? And this brother's sick. I mean, let's keep it a buck, chat. If you're going on Instagram Live speaking about things of this nature and, you may not be in the best state. Just saying, right? Just saying.
They proclaim it. They proclaim it on the billboards. They proclaim it in the streets. Unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? How is it one that how are they to say that man, this man is crazy? That don't we all doesn't even the world make judgments on certain things? So how is it when the gospel is preached that people hate it? That people don't want to hear it, and they think it's strange when someone preaches the gospel, the true gospel.
Now, I don't think anybody's saying it's strange here, Jaden. But what's strange is, if you're preaching the gospel, right? There's a difference between preaching the gospel and being super duper obnoxious with it in a place that is not conducive to having those conversations or is used to having those conversations, right? A lot of people, right? Maybe in the NBA, or I'm just assuming. Sometimes they aren't Christian, or they aren't affiliated with any religion, right? You know, you have to also be aware of your environment that you are in. You are not in a place where it is okay to just speak about these things as freely as you're doing, right? It's one thing to say, I'm preaching the gospel to people. It's one thing to say, okay, I'm talking about these issues with my coworkers and with my friends and family, right? It's one thing to say that. But then, saying that, a man can't lay with another man and a woman can't give birth with another woman. And, these comments, just give bad fucking press. They just do, right? You can't just say that shit, right? And the NBA, number one, people will talk about free speech. NBA ain't the government, little bro. They're not. They're not upheld to the same standard as a government entity like the Senate or some shit, right? Free speech is based upon the government infringing on your rights. Last time I checked, NBA ain't the government. So the NBA technically could let you go at any fucking point. For anything, really, if they deem it detrimental to the team, right? So
The Pistons not gonna matter on Judgment Day.
The Pistons ain't gonna matter on Judgment Day. Now let me tell you, chat. I'm not gonna give you every detail of my life here, but I've heard a lot of people in my life before speak like Jaden Ivey. I've heard this before. And a lot of times those people need help. A lot of times those people are hurting. A lot of times those people have trauma. A lot of times those people have a lot of bottled up feelings and maybe were neglected, and now they're using religion to try and cope with whatever they're needing to heal. And that could manifest itself into toxic ways. And this is one of the ways, right? Where, he's making claims about pride and they're promoting it and it's unrighteous. So basically he's saying it's not okay to be a part of the LGBTQIA community. That's what he's saying, right? And a lot of people, let me tell you with these comments, they're like, did he say anything wrong though? You guys are so comfortable with homophobia on the internet. It's insane. It's fucking crazy. The fact that we as a society are still caught up on being homophobic is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Because, look, I know Christians. I know people who are from the church. And one thing they always tell me is that, when you're dealing with people who may be, vulnerable, maybe going through some trauma, you take them as they are, right? They're not trying to convert people. They're not trying to change them. They're not trying to say that this is bad and they need to change because they're bad, right? They're loving them and accepting them for who they are, right? That's what I think Jaden Ivey needs to do. Love and accept everybody for who you are. Now, a lot of people feel that emotion that Jaden Ivey's feeling. They just don't say it out loud and put it on fucking Instagram Live. So a lot of people silently agree with what Jaden Ivey's saying, and I am not one of them. I will say that right fucking now. I'm not one of them. Jaden Ivey, he's interesting. He's somebody put in the comments, sending prayers, Detroit misses you. God does not hear your prayer if you are a sinner. First off, crazy thing to say. Crazy. That is crazy because God, right? He hears your prayers, right? We're all sinners, right? Jesus was the perfect one, right? And we're trying to be him like him every day, but we always fall short. But He always loves us. He always wants us to do better, right? So God does not hear your prayer if you are a sinner. That's just using religion in a very toxic way. And that's fucking why people are annoyed with you, Jaden Ivey, because you're using religion to fucking poison. Using Poison Ivy for his name. Got him. To like poison people's brains, right? You could be a sinner, but also pray and, you know, try to repent and try to do better every day, right? But we're always going to be sinners, right? We're all sinners, right? So the fact that you're saying, like, God does not hear your prayer if you're a sinner, who the fuck are you? That's what I'm saying. Like, who is Jaden Ivey? Respectfully, Chad. Respectfully. Jaden Ivey's bugging. He is fucking bugging. He's bugging out. He's crashing. This is crashing out. And then he also called out Steph Curry. What the fuck is happening?
That's why you got Steph Curry, and he not even surrendered, and y'all believe he's a Christian.
So he's crashing out. By the way, he's on an airplane. Crazy. You're on Instagram Live on an airplane. This guy's crashing out. First off, you're judging. Hella, brother, you're judging. First off. Secondly, it's like, who are you to tell another man that he's a fake Christian? Let me tell you, Steph Curry ain't spewing this shit online. But here's the thing. Jaden Ivey thinks he's right. That's the thing. But if Steph Curry came out and agreed with him, he'd love him. He'd think he's great. Bull fucking shit. Jaden Ivey bullshit. He's crashing out. He's going. He's doing too much.
Y'all believe he's a Christian because he wrote Philippians 4:13. Y'all think he's a Christian. But he cursing just like the world.
We are now almost ready to go, so please take your...
It's sad.
He sees the line. He sees the physical abuse. He sees the fighting.
Sorry to bother you, but our boarding pick up where you left off.
This one was pretty funny. You know, he see the flight attendant's like, I don't mean to bother you, but can you get the fuck off Instagram Live and spewing hatred online? Can you get the fuck offline? What is going on with you? Now, granted, Jaden, I'm saying this out of love. Get fucking help, please. And yeah, but, you know, for more depthly insight, we're going to pass it over to Hoops for Hotties. I like her analysis, and I think she's quite fair with her analysis in this regard. So we're going to listen to her break down the situation as well. So let's get it. Up.
He just got fired from his job for being homophobic on Instagram Live. My name is Mariah, and this is Hoops for Hotties, where I break down what's going on in the basketball world for the girls, the gays, the days, and the straight men who don't admit they're not watching basketball, and this story is insane. Last week, the Chicago Bulls came to Jaden Ivey and said, hey, you're too hurt. You can't play for the rest of the season. They shut him down. And ever since then, he's been going live on Instagram a lot more frequently. And he called the NBA out for celebrating Pride Month, saying that it was unrighteous. He went on to talk about how a woman can't bear children with another woman, and he was talking about subjects like abortion and the Wicked song lyrics.
Yeah, Jaden. I think I know why you got fucking axed from your job. You're doing too fucking much. You're doing too much. You're talking about abortion. You're talking about a woman can't get pregnant by another woman. Right? You're talking about the Wicked song lyrics of today and having pee addictions and all that and what it's doing to... You're doing too fucking much. You're doing too much. And you're being toxic with it, too. Right? And once you criticize the NBA, now the NBA's like, wait, you brought in us? Brought in your job, bro? Yeah, we don't want that shit. Get out. Like, you're doing too much, and it's bad press for the league. Respectfully, you're doing too much.
I don't think he was referring to Cynthia and Ariana's rendition of Defying Gravity.
He was not referring to Wicked, the movie. The Wicked, great movie, though.
I think he was talking about, like, our sinful music of today. Jaden has been very open about his struggles with mental health, and he reportedly has said that he was SA'd multiple times as a child by a trusted family member.
And that is fucking... that's the trauma, man. That is the trauma, man. That's the trauma. And it's sad because, you know, what you go through as a child is going to dictate, right? You know, the triggers that you have as an adult. And that right there, and he's talked about it, how he struggled, you know, with his mental health because of this, because of that incident. So I wouldn't be surprised if this traumatic, you know, thing has something to do with what's happening right now. Would not be surprised, and I'm probably correct.
And that led him to be abusive towards his wife and his child.
Now, led him to be abusive towards his wife and child. Let me tell you right now, Jaden Ivey. If I had to pick what's worse, it's probably being abusive to your wife rather than being a part of the LGBTQIA community. Just think that's fucking worse. So if we're talking band for band here, the sins that you're talking about are unrighteous. People could say the same thing about you and have no grace and mercy for you, right? Because you're having no grace and mercy for those other people, right? You're not loving them. You're not being Christ-like, right? You're not loving them. You're actually saying they're unrighteous. Like, you don't, you know, like them. You wish that they wouldn't be here. You wish that they would change. Like, I'm insinuating, but this is exactly what he's saying. Like, let's not play fucking stupid here. People who are watching in the fucking comments. Let's not play dumb. Okay? Jaden, you know, you got a troubled past. You got a troubled past. You don't want people digging up your sins. You don't. You really don't. And you've been open about it. But don't do it. Please don't.
And that also led him to have a pee addiction videos on the internet. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? I don't want my video to get taken down. And abuse alcohol and all those other sorts of things. So he has dealt with a lot. And so that explains the rush to very dramatic religion.
Yep, exactly. 100%. A lot of people who are hurting go to find something that will give them answers, that will give them a direction. And, you know, on one hand, it's very good, but it can also manifest itself into very poor ways and very toxic ways, which I believe Jaden Ivey is doing.
But he coming for everybody. Like, someone said, do you go to confession? And he
do you go to confession? A commenter asked Jaden Ivey. He said, Catholicism is a false religion and is not the true doctrine of Christ. It does not lead to salvation in Jesus Christ. Yeah, I don't think the NBA wants to deal with this shit, little bro. Respectfully, like, you're calling out religion. Who are you? Who is you, Jaden Ivey? Who are you? Like, literally, who the fuck are you? Calling out religions and shit. Who are you? You're just a man. What's going on? Just like I'm just a man. Who are you to say religions are false? Like, I don't get it.
He said Catholicism is a fake religion, which is interesting because his mom is the head coach of the women's basketball team at Notre Dame, one of the biggest Catholic universities in the country.
He's just being a hypocrite. I don't get it, but he's going through a lot, so sure.
If not the biggest. She's also a former professional women's basketball player who played for the Detroit Shock, so it was a super full circle moment. When he was drafted 5th overall to the Detroit Pistons, so he is talented. Like, he could be really good, but he dealt with a lot of injuries and then was traded to the Chicago Bulls. Someone also said sending prayers, Detroit missed.
And we saw this one here. God does not hear your prayer if you're a sinner. Yeah, Jaden Ivey is just an idiot. You're just being an idiot right now. So please, whatever. Next, we're going to talk about Jaden Ivey waived for recent anti-LGBTQ comments amid Instagram Live videos speaking on religion. And, yeah, so let's get right into it.
Jaden Ivey wasn't waived because he's a man of faith. The NBA is full of deeply religious players. That has never been the issue. He was waived because he specifically called NBA Pride Month a celebration of unrighteousness on his public platform while under contract.
Yes, that is exactly what fucking happened. people stop fucking trying to justify what he said. He literally said it's unrighteous. About your saying that shit about your employer, if I did that, I'd be fired too. And you know what? They'd be in fucking the perfect standing to get me the fuck up out of there and pack me up. Be in perfect standing to do that. Any employer would get you the fuck up out of here. They would. Why are we acting like they wouldn't? Right? It's not like he said the NBA is trying to profit off of Pride Month. Right? That could be something that you could say and that people could have a real conversation about. But when you're just being hateful, what the fuck? Like, Jaden, Ivey, fuck me.
There's a difference between having beliefs and using your platform to call out a community your employer explicitly stands behind. Ivey crossed that line and the Bulls responded. It's not about religion, it's about conduct. Freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom from consequences in the
Yep. It doesn't mean that you are exempt from any consequences, guys. It does not mean that. So this lady did a really good job of explaining that because it just doesn't. You still can have consequences.
Bulls made that very clear today. But if you disagree, let me know in the comments.
Yeah, she kind of cooked with that one. It does not mean freedom of consequences. And then we got Jaden Ivey talking about how Steph Curry don't know Jesus and, you know, why, you know, this rant was crazy.
Got Steph Curry, and he not even surrendered, and y'all believe he's a Christian. Y'all believe he's a Christian because he wrote Philippians 4:13.
When I look at Jaden Ivey speak, chat, I just see a lot of pain. These kind of people, I've interacted with people like this, and you know, they just need a lot of time and affection and care for them because they're going through a lot. They're struggling mentally, and you know, I want Jaden Ivey to get that help. I want him to get that help, and you know, hopefully, you know, he can seek better guidance than this toxic religion hate, you know, for other groups and even, you know, people who are Christians himself, right? You know, going after another Christian, right? Like, just spreading hate is not good at all, respectfully. And then we're gonna talk about this. So let's get into it. We got it's from Eric Kuyu. I think it might be Ku. So let's talk about freedom of speech is dead because Jaden Ivey. Let's talk about it.
Freedom of speech is dead because Jaden Ivey just got removed from his NBA team for being a proud Christian, is the headline everyone is running with when that is not true whatsoever.
Amen, brother. Like it just yeah, people are running with that, you know, so yeah.
First of all, I am not hating on Christianity. In fact, I think people believing in Jesus Christ and Christianity is beautiful because optimism is much better than pessimism at the end of the day. However, I think oftentimes people, they mask their hate and ignorance for faith.
Yes. That brother just cooked. He cooked, Chad. He cooked. Yeah, they do that a lot. Right? A lot of people, what they do is they're saying that they love you, but they're saying it in like a I don't like you right now, so you need to change. That's not real love. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's something to where, like, you know, somebody may have a, you know, maybe very rude to you, things like that. You know, you could ask them to, like, hey, man, you know, it would be nice if you weren't so rude to me. But when they fundamentally hate something about you from the core of who you are, i.e. being a part of the LGBTQ community, what are you supposed to do? Like, Jaden Ivey is just, he feels so strongly about it. He's calling it unrighteous. He's saying a man can't lay with a man, a woman can't lay with a woman, right? He's saying those things online. And that's just hateful. Because the world we live in right now, like, I'm from New York, so I see a lot of lesbians, gays, straights, intersex, asexual people, right, bisexual people, queer people, right? I see a lot of them every day, right? And they're great. Like, nobody is saying, like, it's Jaden Ivey. he's so dumb. Why does Jaden Ivey feel like he has to change them? You know what I mean? Like they are so comfortable with themselves, and they've had to deal with so much, right? We're talking about LGBTQ plus community from back in the day too, and they still now have to deal with the same shit that they were dealing with before, where they're getting hate speech, right? They're getting beat up in the streets for just being who they are, right? Loving somebody for who they are is real love, right? Now, would you want them to try and improve their life? Yes. Maybe like having a bad attitude. Maybe you'd want to have a good attitude. Maybe you want to improve your situation where you're financially a bit more stable, where you're not bouncing around from couch surfing to couch surfing. Not because you want to change them fundamentally. And that's what Jaden Ivey's talking about. Jaden Ivey is talking about he wants to change these guys fundamentally because fundamentally they are unrighteous. That's what Jaden Ivey's saying at the end of the day. That gay people are unrighteous. And Jaden Ivey is a fucking idiot for saying that.
At the end of the day, the Chicago Bulls are a business that needs to maintain a public good perception, and they're also a shitty basketball team. My bad. But they have all the right in the world to dismiss Jaden Ivey, because Jaden Ivey went on a hateful and homophobic rant that could potentially damage the team's reputation, PR, marketing, and thus causing it to lose money. It is...
Yes, and the NBA is a business. The NBA is a company. They prioritize that revenue. They prioritize that profit. You have to understand where the NBA is coming from. If they feel like what you're doing online is, breaking their code of conduct, they're going to pack you the fuck up. They just are. So, he needs to chill.
Very correct that Jaden Ivey has the right to whatever he wants to say. Freedom of speech, meaning he will not be jailed for saying what he wants to say.
Yes, exactly. And Jaden Ivey's a free man, living freely, still has all, lots of money in the bank, no bank account shut down, no nothing shut down. He's good. He's still able to live and thrive and go about the world. However, Jaden, and I think Mr. Eric is going to get right into this.
However, freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences. If he is affecting a business, a person, they have all the right in the world to retaliate in an action that they seem fit.
Yes, exactly. And Mr. Eric, I appreciate you for giving us that perspective, because it's like, Jaden Ivey, you idiot, man. Idiot. And we're going to talk about how Jaden Ivey said that Jesus healed his knee. Now, chat, I'm not saying he's wrong. However, they did an MRI and it said, you know what? No. Yeah, and they shut him down for the season. Which is probably why, he's not active. He's not playing basketball. So that's probably why he's been on Instagram Live a lot and spewing a lot of the hateful things that he's been doing, right? He's had a lot of time to struggle, really. He hasn't had basketball to take his mind off of things, right? So the brother's struggling. The brother is struggling, respectfully.
Clear. Jaden Ivey being waived is not fundamentally about religion. And I think the distinction is being lost in the discourse surrounding the situation. There are countless NBA players in the league who are religious, outspoken about their faith, or hold conservative personal beliefs. Yet, the overwhelming majority of them know how to navigate those beliefs with a certain level of discretion, professionalism, and awareness of the environment that they're working in. That is where the situation becomes different, because from everything that has surfaced, this does not seem like it is an isolated incident. Reportedly, this...
Yes, and then we're going to get into this because Jaden Ivey, apparently this isn't the fucking first time. This isn't he's just on Instagram Live saying that he just said that and then they caught him. Apparently there's more reports, chat. Apparently. So let's get into it. Shay? Miss Shay Slams, let's get fucking into it.
Dated back to when he was in Detroit, where he gained a reputation of making people feel uncomfortable by inserting religion into inappropriate settings like
even back in fucking Detroit, he was making people feel uncomfortable. He was. Now, Jaden, you gotta understand, the NBA ain't fucking Christian organization, bro. They're not. They are not. You gotta read the fucking room, bro. You just gotta read the room. Like, Jaden Ivey.
Press conferences, asking invasive questions to reporters.
This is what Jaden Ivey said. There were rumblings from Detroit that the shooting guard was a preacher, quote unquote. They undersold it. His interviews became sermons in which he was asking reporters if they've been saved and if they have fornicated before marriage. Jaden Ivey, what the fuck? Like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Who asks these questions? We're in an NBA press conference, bro. We're talking about basketball, and you're talking about asking me if I'm saved or not. This isn't the time, bro. It's not the time. It's just not. You got to know where you're at, bro. Now, the NBA is like a Christian company, and, like, you know, it was acceptable to, like, talk about these things. But even in, like, a work context in a Christian company, you can't just openly ask somebody, have they fornicated before marriage? That's fucking inappropriate. It just is. So even in an organization that is Christian, you can't say that. That's fucking crazy. They're getting HR your ass. You're cooked, chat. You are cooked. Anyway, Jaden is bugging. He's so fucking bugging, man.
Reporters, like, whether they've saved themselves or if they've fornicated before marriage. And I think that context is important because that no longer reads as one poorly thought out comment, rather a broader pattern of behavior and a lack of self-awareness.
Yes, that's what it gives. Jaden Ivey is just not reading the room. He's just feeling like, well, I could share my thoughts anywhere. Well, I could just say that. Well, I could just call NBA pride unrighteous, which basically means I'm saying that that's unrighteous. And I could say that a man can't lay with a man. And I could say that a woman can't bear a baby from a woman. I could just say that. I could just say these things and nothing's going to happen. La-di-da-di. Jaden Ivey is dumb. The fact that you think that is crazy. And it is fucking out of touch, unself-aware.
On top of that, he was taking shots at Curry on his Instagram Live, which I think made the whole situation just more erratic and embarrassing.
Very erratic and embarrassing, taking shots at Stephen Curry as well. Thank you, Shay Slams, for bringing that up. I appreciate your contribution to this video. And next, we're going to talk about to Gabe Sinner. The last name doesn't help you, Gabe. Last name doesn't help you in these comment sections, Gabe. Let me tell you. The last name Sinner. Christian Sinner, Jaden Ivey, doesn't help you get. Okay, I'm done joking. Okay, let's get into How to Become American Christianity's New Hero by Gabe.
Do is have a mental health crisis, go on a homophobic rant, and get fired from your job. And guys like Shams are happy to play along for the engagement, completely ignoring the real reason that Jaden Ivey got released. In fact, there are plenty of players on the Bulls that constantly talk about their faith, and they haven't been fired for it. There are players in the NBA who have made homophobic or hateful comments.
And this is true. Anthony Edwards used the F slur online. He's done it, right? He's used, that's a slur. He's used that online and he was fined for it. LaMelo Ball was fined for using anti-gay language in an interview. He was fined for it. Now, why weren't they released? Let's talk about it, Gabe.
And have simply been fined or suspended. Everyone who was actually in that locker room knew that this guy had become mentally unwell and a distraction. He's going on long, nonsensical rants on Instagram Live, and even his wife has cut off contact with him. It's sad. He's clearly struggling. And
now, apparently, the wife says that she has been in contact with him still, according to articles, so maybe this was probably, a couple days before, obviously, that report came out, but I don't know for sure if the wife's been in contact. I would assume that she came out and said that's a lie. I am, in contact with my husband, so I would assume that she's still in contact.
If any of these shameless, self-centered people had an ounce of empathy, they would be talking about it with concern, not outrage. But no, instead of expressing care for this guy's mental health, people like Riley Gaines have used it as a reason to back up their own delusion that Christians are under attack.
Yeah. You know, a lot of people are defending Jaden Ivey. And he just does not need to be defended because he's in the wrong in this situation, respectfully.
And these people genuinely think that the main tenet of Christianity is hating the gays. However, many Christian athletes do actually follow the teachings of the Bible. That sounds more like this.
If you're gay and transgender, I love you.
Yes! Yes! That's exactly what it is! You love everyone. You love people for who they are and who they are as people and who they are as themselves. You love them, right? And you care for them and you look out for their best interest and their well-being and you take care of them and you serve them and you're gracious, you're humble. You take accountability for things that you say or things that you may do to hurt other people. You do these good things. You don't go online and say they're unrighteous and talk about how this person's a fake Christian. You don't go online and just say things like a man can't lay with a man. You don't go online and say these things. You just don't. So it's fucking disgusting that Jaden Ivey thinks that that's just okay, and a lot of people are co-signing it. A lot of people think that that's okay. They're picking Bible verses to support, and that's so bad. It's awful. It's terrible.
To be American Christianity's newest hero, all you got.
And that's the end of the video. Shout out to Barkley. Shout out to Barkley. But you know, to wrap it up, chat. To give my final thoughts on Jaden Ivey. Get help. Simple. He's struggling mentally. He's dealt with things in the past that has made him struggle mentally, and have done despicable things in the past. You know, i.e., alcoholism, i.e., abuse towards family members, i.e., what he calls it as P addiction. So he needs help. He needs help. And yeah, he needs help. And, you know, saying that the LGBTQ community and the NBA celebrating Pride is unrighteous, you know, a lot of people aren't going to want to even hear you anymore because now you're just spewing hatred into the world. You're going on rants on Instagram Live. What are we doing? Take his phone away. Like, basketball might have been helping him because it takes his fucking phone away for a couple hours. Basketball probably helped a little bit. You know, and now that he's injured, he has no basketball. Now he has free time. He has time to just, you know, talk about these things and just be openly homophobic. But Jaden, get fucking help, please. See a sports psychologist, see a therapist, see a shrink. Continue to pray on it, please, because this hatred that you're spewing right now is not cool. It's just not. And a lot of, you know, I've heard from people saying the certain Christians want to condemn, you know, gayness because they feel like it's wrong. But they won't condemn somebody else when they do something wrong that isn't related to that. But they will always condemn that. It's like, I feel like there's a hate there. There's a thing that you guys can't like help but hate. Like, there's no, Jaden Ivey's not coming at this from love. Like, he's just not. So I hope that brother gets help. I hope that he has people in his circle trying to help him see the things that he's doing wrong. And hopefully he could be back on the NBA team. You know? Yeah. that's going to do it for me, guys. This is a 45-minute video. Thank you guys for watching. Shout out to the LGBTQIA plus community on this channel. I love you guys. I respect you guys. You know, and what Jaden Ivey is doing, I do not agree with anything that he has been saying. I think that he is dumb. I think that he is doing things in a poor way, awful fucking poor way. And I hope Jaden Ivey gets the help to see the errors in his ways and the error in his language. So just, you know, prayers go to Jaden Ivey. Hopefully he's doing good. And prayers go to everybody affected by the comments of Jaden Ivey. So hopefully you guys are in better spirits. You know, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, take care.